Hello friends, we will discuss our question paper of Indian Engineering Services 2014, paper 1. Along the triple line in a PV diagram showing all three phases of water. Which one of the following statement is correct? So first we will see how the triple line will look on PV diagram. So this is PV diagram, and here pressure is constant along the triple line and specific volume is changing. So we can say the correct option will be where we have different specific volume but same pressure. So here it is showing same specific volume. This option is wrong. Same specific volume, this option is wrong. This option is also wrong. So correct option is A. Internal energy of a system is dependent on the following aspects: 1. Molecular weight, 2. Molecular structure, 3. Degree of molecular activity. So internal energy will be dependent on molecular structure and degree of molecular activity only. So correct option will be 2 and 3. In a cyclic process, the heat transfer processes. The heat transfer are 30, minus 50, minus 10, plus 60. The net work for the cyclic process is. So we know in a cycle, suppose this is our PV diagram, and here the cycle will consist of different processes. Here this is pressure axis and this is volume. So in this process we can say heat addition is plus 30, like this we can. So in a closed cycle, according to Joule's law, net integral of heat is equal to net integral of work done. So if we will add all this, plus 30 minus 50 minus 10 plus 60, 60 plus 30, 90, 90 minus 60, 30. So net work for the cyclic process is 30 joule. And same if they have asked change in internal energy, then it will be 0, because internal energy is a point function. So answer will be 0 if they will ask change in internal energy for the cycle. A researcher claims that he has developed an engine which, while working between source and sink temperature of 377 and 27 degrees Celsius, rejects only 50% of the absorbed heat. What will his engine be? So it is asking for an engine where it is rejecting 50% of the absorbed heat, whether this engine is possible or not. So we can see this is source and sink, and we will connect it with one cycle engine. Here this temperature is 377 plus 2, 273. This is 300. So we can say Q1 upon Q2 is equal to T1 upon T2. Because if it's engine to be valid, then Q2 should be more than the reversible heat engine heat rejection. Suppose this is Carnot engine. So if Q2 here will come 0.46 of Q1. So this Q2 of heat rejection. So this Q2 of heat rejection is, here it is showing it is rejecting 50% of the absorbed heat. So this can be a valid cycle or engine due to reversible. So if it is a practical engine, so if they have written 46% of the absorbed heat, then it will be a reversible engine. So correct option is D. A reversible engine works between the temperature limits of 260 and 60 degrees Celsius. To improve the performance, we have to. So now we have to see with both the temperatures what will be our change in efficiency. So in first case, in first option we are raising the temperature 300 plus 273, 573, and this temperature is constant. So 1 minus T2 upon T1, it will come around 41%. Similarly, lower the sink temperature to 30 degrees Celsius. This temperature I have reduced from 60 to 30. So I will put T2 as 303. So it will come around 43%. So which process is giving more efficiency? Answer B, because it is improving our performance of the engine. In the real gas equation, PV is equal to ZRT. Depending on the values of pressure and temperature of the real gas, the value of Z. So we know for ideal gas, Z is always equal to 1, and for real gas, it can be maybe less than 1, greater than 1, or equal to 1. So correct option is B. A system executes a cyclic process during which there are two processes as given below. So it is asking work interaction in this process. So it is similar to question number 3. So net integral of heat is equal to net integral of work done. So 460 minus 100 is 360 minus 210. So answer will be 150 kilojoule. For the same compression ratio, the efficiency of an air standard Otto cycle is. So for the same compression ratio, we know the work done is more in case of Otto cycle. So efficiency is more. Here this is our diesel cycle, this portion, and this is Otto cycle. So the efficiency of an air standard Otto cycle will be more than efficiency of an air standard diesel cycle, because diesel cycle will be efficient only when the compression ratio is very high, more than 16 we use. A Carnot engine operates between 37 degrees Celsius and 347 degrees Celsius. If the engine produces 620 kilojoule of work, then the entropy change during heat addition process. So here this temperature is given 347 plus 273, and this temperature is given 37 degrees Celsius. So this work done is 620 kilojoule. So I can write 1 minus T2 upon T1 is equal to W upon Q1. So Q1 will come 1240. And entropy change during heat addition. So there is heat addition in the cycle. So during this process, entropy change will be delta S is equal to Q1 upon T1. So it will come answer 2. An amount of 1000 question number 10, an amount of 1000 kilojoule of heat is added to a system during a constant pressure vaporization process at a temperature of 227 degrees Celsius. The available energy added to the system if the temperature of the surrounding is. So this is given, so it is asking available energy. So basically we will solve this question like this. So this is temperature 1000 kilojoule, 227 degrees Celsius, and this is 27 degrees Celsius, and I am adding 1000 kilojoule of heat here. This graph is between temperature versus entropy axis. The available energy added to the system if the temperature of the surrounding is. So available energy will be this area between these two lines, and whatever is heat rejected below this line is unavailable energy. So I can write this W is equal to same Carnot efficiency formula we are using, Q into 1 minus T2 upon T1. So this W is our available energy, and the answer will come 500 kilojoule. Consider the following statements. In ideal gas behavior, there are no interaction of forces of attraction and repulsion. That is correct. We never consider forces of attraction and repulsion in ideal gas. At very low pressure, all the gases and vapor approaches ideal gas behavior. This is the main assumption that we use. At very low pressure, all the gases will approach ideal gas behavior. The enthalpy of an ideal gas depends on the temperature only. That is also correct. So answer is 1, 2, 3. Consider the following statements pertaining to the properties of the perfect non-reacting gas mixture. So this is basically our Dalton law, which states that the total volume of a mixture is the sum of the partial volume at the same pressure and temperature, and the entropy of the mixture of the gases is the same as the entropy of the constituents. That is also correct. The volume will be is equal to the sum of the partial volumes. Suppose N2 is occupying a volume of V1 and O2 is occupying a volume of V2, then total volume is V1 plus V2, sum of the partial volume. Similarly, the total pressure of the mixture is sum of the partial pressure of the gases. That is also correct. The mole fraction is also equal to both pressure and volume fraction. That is also correct. So answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. An inventor claims to have developed a refrigeration unit which maintains minus 10 degrees Celsius in the refrigerator, which is kept in a room where the surrounding temperature is 25 degrees Celsius and which has COP of 8.5. His claim is. Suppose this is our refrigeration unit. Now this will be our work input. And these temperatures are given. So this temperature is given 25 and this temperature is given 10. So this COP should not be more than the reversible cycle COP. So we know for refrigeration unit, if we will find out COP of this process, then it will become 298 divided by 35. This is heat engine. Heat pump COP we have to calculate for refrigeration unit. So it will come around 6, and it has given us more than 6. So his claim is invalid. So correct answer is C. An Otto cycle has a compression ratio of 8. If 250 kJ of work is done extracted from the cycle, then the heat rejected by the cycle is. So efficiency around for compression ratio of 8 is equal to 56%. Efficiency will be 56% for the compression ratio of 8. Now it has given work done. I can write is equal to W divided by Q1. So this W is given 250 divided by Q1. So I can write this W is equal to Q1 minus Q2. So this Q1 I will put here, and Q2 will come 192.69. In an engine working on an air standard Stirling cycle, the temperature at the beginning of the thermal compression is 127 degrees Celsius. The engine thermal efficiency is 50%. The specific heat of the air at constant volume is CV. The heat transfer to the generator is. So Stirling cycle, we will see how the Stirling cycle will look like. So Stirling cycle, the processes will be in constant isothermal and constant volume. So it has given us this temperature TH. So efficiency of the Carnot cycle is same as efficiency of the Carnot Stirling cycle. So I can write efficiency is equal to 1 minus T2 divided by T1. So this at the beginning of the isothermal compression, so it is T lower, so it is given T2. So I can find out T1 here because efficiency is 1 by 2. So this temperature will come 600. So T1 will come out 600. So heat generation it is asking. So heat generation will occur in this process. Here 2 to 3. Whatever it is liberating, we are giving it as heat addition in 4 to 1. So this temperature is 600 because this temperature is constant along this path, and this temperature is also constant. This is 400 at this point. At the beginning of the compression is this process. So 600 minus 400 is 200. So our answer will come CV into 200. Correct option is A. An ideal spark ignition engine has a compression ratio of 9. What is its air standard efficiency? If the compression ratio of 1 specific it is 1.5. So this will be the direct square root of 9. So 1 minus 1 by 3 is 2 by 3. It will come 67%. So answer is B. A Carnot heat pump works between 27 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius. What will be its COP? That you can find out easily. Answer will be 2. And COP for the refrigeration will be 1. Practically, it is not feasible to design an engine which closely follows the Carnot cycle for the following reason. So Carnot cycle, we know there are 2 constant isothermal process and 2 adiabatic processes. So isothermal processes we know. So this will be isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, adiabatic compression. So these processes are very slow, isothermal, because temperature has to remain constant. And these adiabatic processes are very fast because there should be no heat flow. So correct option is 1 and 2. and thermal efficiency is not a function of source and sink temperature. That is wrong. We know for Carnot cycle efficiency will depend upon the source and sink temperature only. It does not depend upon the fluid. So correct option is 1 and 2. Answer is A. Two identical finite bodies of constant heat capacity at temperatures T1 and T2 are available to do the work in a heat engine. The final temperature Tf reached by the bodies on the delivery of the maximum work is. So if we have two bodies, basically this is a long derivation. Here this body is 1 and we are running a heat engine between these two bodies. This is T1 and this is T2. Here concept of entropy and net work done will come. Suppose this is reaching a temperature of T final, because both the bodies are the same temperature. Similarly, this body is also reaching the same temperature of T final. So this is liberating heat T1 minus T final, Cv into T final. And similarly, this body is releasing T final minus T2, or T2 minus T final, it is heat rejecting. So net work done is W into Q1 minus Q2. Similarly, entropy we can write out Cp into ln of T final upon T1. And similarly, entropy for this one is T final upon T2. So the correct option will be B, where it is asking for maximum work, and if it is asking for no work, then answer will be A. T final is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. The mechanical efficiency of a single cylinder 4-stroke single engine is 80% if the frictional power is estimated to be 25 kilowatt. So we know indicated power will be equal to indicated power is equal to brake power plus frictional power. So efficiency we know is equal to brake power divided by indicated power. So I can put mechanical efficiency 0.8 is equal to brake power upon indicated power. So this brake power I can put here as 0.8 of indicated power, and I can find out indicated power here. This is similar to question number 20. So we'll move to question number 22. The following reasons are mentioned while recommending supercharging for the engines used in aeroplanes and submarines. Supercharging we usually used in CI engine. So the efficiency will increase, better combustion and increase power output. This statement is correct. High peak pressure, increased temperature and smaller size, because our power output will increase. So for the same power, engine will become of smaller size. So the correct option is 1 and 2. Similar question is asked in IES 2013. And this is also asked in IES 2013. This is a repetition. This is question paper 2014. So mechanical efficiency of a supercharged diesel engine is slightly better than that of naturally aspirated engine. That is correct. But thermal efficiency will be slightly lesser than naturally aspirated engine. Mechanical efficiency is more. There is a reduction in the smoke in the case of supercharged engine in the case of overload operation. Increased valve overlap is used in the supercharged engine. That is also correct. 1, 2, 3. In diesel engine, the control of black smoke in the exhaust can be achieved by running the engine at lower load. This is correct. Maintaining the injection system perfect, because if our injection system will be perfect, then droplet will be fine and fuel will burn better. Using diesel fuel of higher CTN number. So correct option is 1 and 2. Which one of the following statement is correct? So this is psychrometric chart. Psychrometric chart we know will be between dBT and humidity ratio. So if this is our psychrometric chart, then heating and humidification is this process, humidification means we are adding more moisture to the air. So humidity ratio is increasing. It will be increasing in this side. So humidity ratio increases in heating and humidification. During cooling and dehumidification process, humidity ratio increases. So if I will reverse this process, this is cooling and dehumidification because temperature is decreasing and moisture is reducing. So humidity ratio decreases because we are removing moisture. D means removal of the moisture. During cooling and dehumidification process, derivable temperature increases. That is wrong because during cooling our temperature is reducing. So dVT will decrease. So correct option is D. During heating and humidification, this is heating and humidification in this side. So derivable temperature will increase. A dimensionless flow field quantity that connects the link between velocity flow field and the temperature field is. So we know that Prandtl number will connect the velocity boundary layer and thermal boundary layer. So the correct option is B. The conduction heat diffuses in a material when the material has, so its formula we know, alpha is equal to K upon rho Cp. So if K will be more, our alpha will be more, density is less, rho is density, so alpha will be more high specific heat, it should be low specific heat. So answer will be 1 and 2. In case of Fourier law of heat conduction, heat flow through a body per unit time is this. The negative sign of the K in this question is to take care of. As we know in our thermal wall, here these are two walls, and in this assumption is Fourier law, this wall will have constant isotherms, means this T1 and T2 will remain constant in this whole situation. So wall temperature will decrease along the thickness like this. So this dt by dx is negative, slope is negative as x is increasing. So we will put a sign of negative to make it positive. So it is showing temperature drop is this one. Similarly, if temperature drop is this one, suppose this is a straight line. So I can tell this one is K1 and this one is K2. So here temperature drop is less, so K1 will be more. Here temperature drop is more, it means K2 will be less. So K1 is greater than K2 if we are given this type of question also. A flat wall with a thermal conductivity of 0.2 has inner and outer surface temperature of 600 and 200. If the heat flux through the wall is 200, then what is the thickness of the wall? Then its correct answer is, we can find out through this one, conductivity is given 0.2, dt is given 400, and wall thickness we have to find out. Since this is given heat flux, that is per unit area per meter square, so I can consider area is equal to 1 unit. So answer will come out 40 centimeter. Put the units correctly. Which one of the flowing properties are intensive property? Intensive properties are those which does not depend upon the size of the system. So if this is the system, then density will be same for whole the part. So it is intensive property, and viscosity will also be same. Suppose if this is the fluid, then viscosity will be same everywhere. So 1 and 3 is correct. Entropy is not a intensive. Specific entropy is a intensive property. Why entropy is not a intensive? Because if we have more number of gases of atoms, then entropy will increase. So it depends upon the molecular number. So correct option is 1 and 3. In a concentric double pipe heat exchanger where one of the fluid undergoes phase change, the two fluids should flow opposite to each other. The two fluids should flow parallel to each other. The two fluids should flow normal to each other. The direction of the two fluids are of no consequence. So correct option is D. Why it is so? Suppose if the fluid is flowing, this is phase change process, and another fluid is getting heated. So this is same whether fluid is flowing in this direction or this direction. So LMTD will be same for both the cases. So correct option is D. The characteristic length for computing the Grashof number in case of horizontal cylinder is. So Grashof number is used in case of buoyancy. Suppose if this is our cylinder, in case of horizontal cylinder, and we will connect it with lines. So in case of horizontal cylinder, our fluid will flow like this. So it is affecting this portion of the cylinder. So the correct option will be diameter of the cylinder. This is horizontal cylinder and this is vertical cylinder. So this portion will become characteristic length, and in case of vertical cylinder, this length will become characteristic length. So correct option is B. So we'll solve remaining question later. Thank you guys. Like the video and subscribe the channel. I'll put up more videos that will be useful later during preparation in ISRO GATE examination and IES examination. Thank you. Bye bye.